my experience with ADHD and ADD. So, okay, I went to this elementary school. I had a horrible time in elementary. I had a horrible time in math. English and reading were my best subjects. And science. Best subjects. Math was an absolute no. I know English and reading, it took me a while to catch on to that, but eventually when I eventually did, and I was great at it. Math I never caught on to, ever. I could do simple math, 2 plus 2, count on your fingers. That was it. So when math came, or when this whole thing in the elementary school came around, we had gotten a new teacher. This new teacher she was kind of a bitch. She would yell at me in front of the whole class. If I didn't get the right answer, she would make me feel like I was like the most stupidest, like the most idiotic student there, and she'd just make me feel all around stupid. She would yell at me in front of everybody in the whole class. She didn't care that they were there. She wouldn't take me out into the hallway and explain her issues. She wouldn't do that. She would just, and she would go and go and go until I was crying. Just about every day. And she would tell me how I'm not trying, how lazy I am and stuff. And I didn't only get it from her. I would go home and I would get the same thing from my parents. So I was getting, being told all of this by not only school but my parents. And then my parents, when I would go home, I really would try and get math. I really would try. I would try my very best, but it got to the point where I just started hiding my math homework. I started to hide my math because it didn't matter how hard I tried. I would always get the wrong answer. And I wasn't getting the help I needed. And so I just stopped. And if I did, show it, say, hey, I have math homework, they would try to help me. But I just wouldn't get it at all. And it would always, with them helping me, it would always end up in tears and yelling. From both of us. Because I wouldn't get it, and then they would be frustrated that I wasn't getting it. And not very good strategy, obviously. So I just would hide it. It would take, seriously, 5 hours to do a simple math assignment. And so I just gave up on that, and I would hide my homework. I got grounded a lot because of that. Eventually the school did start offering, start tutoring me. Basically, they trapped me there for 2 to 3 hours and stood over my shoulder pointing out what was wrong and how I needed, to do it. Which I guess, that's okay, but it was frustrating to me. Which, of course, I was a little kid. It'd be frustrating to any little kid. But there was just something about them that I felt like they weren't doing right. They wouldn't back me up with positive, anything. I always got negative, you know. But I finally got an actual tutor that wasn't the school, who helped a lot, and I thank her. But that wasn't until after my ADHD diagnosis. Which, my ADHD diagnosis, when my parents were at work, they were complaining about how lazy I was and how I wasn't trying and how I was doing all this stuff. And of course, they are nurses. Like, my dad's an RN, my mom is an LPN. At the time, though, my mom was a secretary working in the same hospital with him. And so another nurse kind of just put her hand up and said that, hey, your kid's got ADHD, you need to stop. And so I ended up getting diagnosed with ADHD not long after that. They took me and evaluated me and everything. And yeah, and then I got put on Ritalin for a while. Which I guess it helped a little bit. I didn't like to take the Ritalin. I just didn't like taking medicine. I was like, I'm too young for this. I don't need to be taking meds every day, not yet. Little kid stuff. But it would kind of make me feel sick. When I was eating, it would just make me feel really sick, and it would make me feel hyper, and I didn't like the side effects of it. Eventually I got out of that school because we were doing a tutoring session, and I didn't have to do it because I had this new, tutor, so I didn't have to do their tutoring session, and they got angry at that, and were telling, people, they weren't telling other people, they were kind of having a loud conversation in their own room, I guess, and another student kind of heard, and they said that my mom could march in and drag me out of the school and they wouldn't care. So yeah. I'm running a little short on this video. It's almost to 10 minutes, so I'm gonna make a part 2 of this